In geographical area, the country is small, but its people, progress, and position make Bangladesh a key interest for many geopolitical ambitions of the United States, India, China, and Russia. I'm Saad Hammadi, and with me I have today Dr. Gowher Rizvi, the International Affairs Advisor to the Prime Minister, who's also an advisor to her political party, Awami League. Let's now go into Bangladesh's foreign policy. Bangladesh has entered into a major strategic partnership with China more than any other country. The partnership is also viewed as China's ambition to make its foray into the Bay of Bengal, which may not be a very pleasing news for India. Does Bangladesh see China as a convenient leverage against India?
We have extremely close, cordial, good relations with China. I don't know where the word strategic partnership with China has arrived, where it has been arrived from. The other important thing to note is we have exceptionally close, cordial relations with India. And the third point that is equally important to know, both China and India have encouraged us to have cordial relations with the other. Because what is important to India and China? Neither India nor China wishes to dominate Bangladesh. What is in their best interest is a politically stable, prosperous Bangladesh. We are not aligned to anybody. There is absolutely no question of being aligned to anybody. Good relations, yes. Big market, yes. Lot of development projects and investments, yes. Both sides are doing that. So it is absolutely a mistaken thing to believe that Bangladesh has tilted to China or any such thing. No, absolutely not. We have fine, cordial relations with both, and I believe there has not been any such suggestion by any party that we have tilted to one side or the other. We have established, we made connectivity a central part of our policy. Despite opposition from the BNP, we have gone ahead because we see without connectivity, without Bangladesh is located in such a place, it connects South Asia to Southeast Asia and East Asia. So for us, connectivity in every way is most important. Why is it wrong? Isn't BCIM, Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar, an agreed part of both India and China, which also connects the four countries? So we, as I said again and again, we have no reasons to align ourselves with anybody. But we have every reason in our national interest to maintain good relations with all our neighbors, including Myanmar, despite the fact that we have difficulties with Myanmar over Rakhine Rohingyas. But we have not stopped. We are constantly endeavoring to make efforts to improve relations. We have established linkages, connectivity with Nepal, with Bhutan, with India. We have unlimited access to the Indian, duty-free access to Indian market. Our economy is fast expanding. Bangladesh is becoming rapidly a growing market for exporters of other countries. In these circumstances, why should anybody venture to think that we should change our policy and become aligned with one or the other? Bangabandhu had always maintained and insisted that we should be friends to all. There is no need for us to be to malign one or the other.
We understand Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina is due to make her first state trip to India since Narendra Modi took over as the Indian Prime Minister. Bilateral trade appears to be heavily tilted in favor of India, and there appears to be stumbling blocks as regards the Teesta water sharing is concerned. What should be expected out of this trip?
Let's start with bilateral trade. You have made an issue of trade imbalance with India. you did not mention that the trade imbalance with China is much greater. Nor did you mention that we have a trade balance in favor, huge trade balance in favor with the United States or with Europe. See, bilateral trade balance or imbalance means very little. What is important is, do you have an overall balance of trade or not? Because people buy and sell in markets which are most favorable. So with some you will sell more, from some you will buy more. But that's not the end of the story. No economist would simply pick up balance of trade and say, oh my God, what is happening? Otherwise, Americans should stop, Europeans should stop, we should stop with China, allowing China's export. Who will suffer? We will suffer. Our customers will suffer. Now, obviously, no country likes to have adverse balance of trade if it can help. The way to help it is not to put up trade barriers, to create impediments, but rather to expand your export. In the last 2 years, our export to India has moved from under $250 million to $900 million. That is a positive move in the positive direction. Not only that, Bangladesh could import many more billions of dollars of goods to India, provided it had the goods which are in demand in India. So what we are doing, we are encouraging Indian investors to come in Bangladesh, manufacture things which are in demand in Indian market, so that it could be exported from here, and gradually it will create employment for our workers. It will create a market for our goods in India and balance the trade. Now this is exactly what we have done. We are boosting our exports to India by getting investors from India who are producing goods that are needed in India. That's the way to go about. That's the way balanced economies function, not by picking up simply a question of adverse. And if you are going to talk about adverse, let's look at it globally. And globally, we have a favorable balance of trade.
So regarding Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's visit to India, what can be expected out of her trip?
These visits are very important for reviewing the state of our relationship. During every summit, we lay out a roadmap, we make certain commitments, the two leaders postulate a vision. This is the time to take stock of how much has been achieved and what needs to be done more. Obviously, there are other important issues. We will obviously want to talk about Ganges barrage project. That would be hugely beneficial to Bangladesh and also to the people of India. We will press for and push for Tista, even though we understand that there are difficulties on the Indian side. We have two lines of credit from India, first for 1 billion and then a second one for 2 billion. We are now going to look into the possibilities of a third line of credit from it. The interesting thing about India-Bangladesh is we have a shared boundary of 2,300. We have the advantage of proximity. We have a shared culture and language. So given all these things, it is mind-boggling why it took for this Prime Minister to see the potentials and from 2009 onwards move it in such rapidly, where extraordinary advantages have been gained. When our government came into power, there was a huge shortage of power. There was constant blackout. there was a huge opposition that you will not be allowed to buy power from India. We not only bought, now it is so commonplace, purchase of power from the Indian grid and Indian market, that nobody even talks about it. There was huge opposition to connectivity. It is now a daily routine affair, and public and people can see the enormous benefit that this is bringing to us. So the essential thing is a healthy, cooperative relationship between the two countries, which ensures political stability by ensuring there is no terrorism in the region, is good for both countries. And also we have a shared view of the world. In most instances we agree. We have similar aspirations. Both of the countries are struggling to eliminate poverty. Many of the issues that are faced between the two, in the two countries, global warming, ecological devastation, terrorism, trafficking of drugs, trafficking of women and children, trafficking of weapons. These only can be addressed jointly through cooperation. These cannot be handled nationally. Therefore, to solve our problems, to create a poverty-free Bangladesh, our cooperation with India is of immense importance. And we would be foolish not to take advantage of this hugely win-win situation that already exists in our relationship.